I don't hate, man.
I'm not hating. I'm just don't ask me stupid questions, man. Let's go.
You got a haircut.
Yeah.
They call it spiffy.
I was gonna be on the television, so
Okay.
or on the internet, so I figured I might as well.
You look all dead. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You look ready for TV for sure.
There you go.
Let me see. Look how I look. How I look ready for TV.
Yeah, line up, guy.
I need to see my barber still.
Barber never has his haircut. Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's what they say. That's what they say. Barber's busy getting everybody ready. Barber's never ready. I'm always the last man ready.
I hear that.
I know you guys probably talk about me behind my back and stuff.
Why? Because you're the last person ready?
Because I'm always the last one ready.
I don't know that, really. Any time that I've gone out with you, you're there when you're supposed to be there. So.
All right.
I guess.
Yes. Happy Tuesday, sir.
Happy Tuesday, brother.
Yes, y'all. Yes, y'all. Welcome to Pizza in the Break Room, episode 82.
Oh, shit, eh?
That's one more than Kobe. Anybody hit at 82? No, nobody's ever hit at 82.
I'm sure somebody must have hit an 82 guy.
Probably like Phil Dixon. Phil Dixon probably hit at 82.
Oh, jeez. That's probably true, to be honest with you. Flame, what up? Mr. GQ Love, what up?
Yes. Flame, what's going on with you? What up with you? GQ Love, what up?
Dun.
No, yesterday, actually, I was watching this podcast. It's called Hip Hop Hoops. And they had the one and only Mr. Phil Dixon on there.
Oh, for real, eh?
Yeah, man, it was a dope watch. Very insightful. Got to hear from the legend himself. DJ Mr. GQ Love says Wilt had 100.
Denim.
And Denim had 111.
Mr. Brown.
Remember that? Remember when Denim hit 111? It just became, it was like a thing.
Something like a phenomenon?
Something like a phenomenon. And you could tell that times were different back then because he hits 111. Marv was the coach back then. And it's like they wanted to take away his coaching license and send him to like the Arctic and said, you should never coach basketball ever again. Because he made the guy go for 111 because he allowed it.
I could have went for 100, but I was just such a team player guy.
Oh, man.
It's a true story. What up, Fave?
Phoenix Plays. What up with you? LL. What up with you? No, yeah. And like I'm saying, times have changed because now you're seeing teams blow teams out and it's like nothing. Like it's now you post it and say, you won by 110.
No, you're not supposed to do that, guy.
But that's the thing. Back when we used to play, you're not supposed to do that.
No, you're not supposed to do it now. Well, it's bad form, guy.
I don't go to high school games, but I see the scores because people posting them. So I mean, somebody's doing it.
They're just documenting for historic purposes.
Okay. But I guess so. Then maybe the leadership is all different now. Maybe just like the coaches, maybe the brand of coaches is different now.
See this guy?
Amateur Hour Sports. What up with you?
Go Bills. Mafia's all around.
Bills Mafia.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess, but that's just the world we live in now with social media and all that craziness. And I was just talking about that earlier. Just social media is almost the Antichrist guy. Okay, I'm done. That's for another day. That's for cold pizza.
DJ Mr. GQ Love says, I coach high school ball and I know some teams that run up scores. So Tito, when you coached, were ran up the score, or you had like compassion?
No, I play the game the right way, man. I remember one time some guy tried to call me on it one time, but this was a team that we played regularly, and they were good.
Yeah.
Right. And it was like a back and forth game all the time. And then I remember it was like fourth quarter, and he was like, yo, you're still pressing. And I was like, I'm scared of you guys, man. I'm
right.
like, you're damn right. Like, as soon as we pull back,
you guys are gone.
This guy's gonna hit that. Like that was our regular defense against these guys. Right. It was just like nonstop, because it was like a 12-point game with 2 minutes left, man. Like, and these guys could shoot threes. These guys, they were one of those like sound teams. I was like, I'm scared of you guys, man. So I'm pressing still. Right. So I don't know. So it goes. But no, I wouldn't run up the score on people. You got to do all right, guys, run play through. Let's try the second option, and, better time to practice stuff. If it goes in, it goes in, as long as it's all good what we're working with, I guess.
So when you guys are playing and that team was like beating you guys, and if they were like a more dominant team, you wouldn't run the clock like Mr. Carl's? Like what Carl's
Sometimes it depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you were outgunned for a different reason, I guess, right? This was just a big, this was like a country team guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They pass the ball well, set good screens well, but when you pressure them, their point guard gets all like sweaty and flustered, guy. And they can't handle the press. They couldn't handle the press, so we pressed. Sometimes other teams are way more athletic than us, so we slowed it down. You just have to.
Right.
You're damn right, IQ Remix country team guy. Hey man, my team was from Ancaster, Ontario. All right, so we can talk about my team anytime you want. That was my son. My son was the lone guy for a little while on that team.
D1 Demos, what up with you?
Big up D1 Demos.
What up with you?
Run the play, man. Tadao knows what's up. Big up Tadao.
Yeah, man. So how was your weekend?
It's all right. Nothing too crazy. A lot of cleaning, laundry, television shows, stuff like that. That was about it.
What show did you get into?
Oh man, what have I done? I binged Treason, which I didn't think was going to be on my list, but it was on my list. So I whipped through that, and now I'm whipping through Travelers, which I never thought I'd watch. It's been on my list forever, but now I'm watching The Travelers. I'm into season 2. I can't put it down.
Travelers.
Yeah. On Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What's that one about?
Back to the Future with cops. Or with the FBI guy.
Is it kind of like a Quantum Leap? That type of thing?
No, whatever. They're coming back to fix the future type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
They're on missions. They got to do little missions to fix the future.
Okay.
That's how most of the shows work, right?
What I get into? I got into
yeah. What'd you get into?
I was watching some episodes of Black Mafia Family on the weekend. I mean, it's Family Day weekend. So I know everybody enjoyed getting that extra weekend that we never used to get, that extra long weekend.
Shut up, guy. I had to work, guy. Don't talk to me like that.
Yeah, you worked?
Yeah, I got first world problems. So
I mean, I didn't get to enjoy it as much as everybody else would, because my days off is on a Monday usually. Right? So I didn't really get to enjoy it as anybody else would. I didn't get to savor it. But what I do? Went to the movies. Saw Ant-Man and the Wasp with Quantumania.
You sure about that? That's the title? Is that the title? You sure? Did you write this down?
Yeah, no, I didn't write it down, but I'm sure that's what it's called. Ant-Man and the Wasp. That was a pretty dope watch. I watched it with Carla and her daughter and Kado. And I love when we watch movies like that and like the kids can like keep up and understand and comprehend, even if you think it's like complex, But yeah, man. Yeah, so it was a good family day long weekend. I'm not too sure if everybody had a good family day long weekend, because I mean, last week we spoke about John Tory, big pimping, right? And I know we're not really like a gossip show, but I mean, it's crazy to think that the man was outside like the way he was. And if you remember, I don't know if you remember during the quarantine, his hair looked crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then to think that he was in his action during the quarantine with that crazy hair, and then they said that the lady was young, right? Like a 31-year-old. You're like,
Mm-hmm.
who's getting involved with this man? Have you seen the pictures, bro?
I've seen a picture or two. Yeah. So I mean, what are you gonna do, man? Good for him. Like this was good for him, man. What else is happening? So John Tory, yeah. So he was getting the goods. He was getting the goods with the bad hair.
Yeah.
Tory with the good hair.
Yeah, John Tory was getting, and it actually was like more than one person. So he was busy. He was pimping strong. What I find out, you guys got to be careful when you're on the road, because now the OPP have this scanner that can scan like 1,000 license plates at one time, automatic license plates scanner.
Okay.
So be careful.
Yeah, I forgot to do my sticker. No, whatever. It's like, all right, whatever, sticker. Guy, I did my sticker last week as soon as I saw that video, yo. It was free. It was my debt's here. It's all good. I'm good now. Yeah, I didn't do it for like 18. I was like late. My sticker was like a 2021 or some shit.
I guess now they're saying because I guess renewal is free.
Yeah.
So there's no reason not to have it. Right. So now they're catching like 1,000 at a time, like sticky paper. Boom. And if you're like riding dirty, it's your fault. Right? Like money should not be the reason.
Everybody re-up, yo.
So yeah, man. So the OPP got the scanners. Roomba got the scanners. You heard about Roomba?
That's the vacuums.
That's the vacuum that's running around. Yeah.
Well, I gotta cover the camera on my Roomba.
You have to cover the camera on your Roomba, apparently, because Roomba, there's somebody hacking Roombas and sending out pictures of people in compromising positions from the Roomba scanner.
Okay, your Roomba has a camera on it. What kind of Roomba you have, guy?
I don't got a Roomba. I got Broom.
You got fucking Jeeves, guy.
Yes.
Do your sticker, fave.
Yes, Denise. Do your sticker.
Do your sticker. What's up, Miss
Yes,
Sylvia?
Phoenix Plays. No privacy. No privacy. Exactly.
All right.
Like Remix says, as long as they ain't got an emission scanner.
Fuck. Oh boy.
Oh man. Yeah, but and then we chill out and watch the Allstar game, right? And kick off the Sunday was the national anthem. The national anthem sang by incomparable Julie Black. She murdered it. I never heard it sound like that before. Lyrically and sonically.
Soulful guy.
Lyrically and sonically, Julie put it down on that one. And she's trending big now with that. Like it's, you just Google and it's this national anthem. Yes,
that's all they're talking.
Yeah,
that's all I hear about. That's good though. That's the properest line I've seen in a while. All right, that's right.
Pretty crazy, man. Pretty crazy. But yeah, congratulations to Julie for even getting the opportunity to be able to sing the national anthem at such a grand stage, the NBA All-Star Weekend, and she did a fantastic job. So big shouts out to you, Julie. Congratulations on that, and hope more good things to come following that as well.
Indeed.
But yeah, I mean, speaking of All-Star Game, our guest today, Jacob Grramegna from Amateur Hour Sports. We're going to talk All-Star Weekend with him. He's coming on right now, y'all. And we're going to talk Raptors. And Phoenix Plays, I see a lot of Raptors questions in the chat. We're not ignoring you. It's just that it's about that time. We're going to get into it. So, Amateur Hour Sports is a podcast that I watch daily. And when I turn on my YouTube and I don't see that there's another episode dropped, I'm like, I wish I had this guy's number so I can call him and say, yo, what are you waiting for? Drop something. Yes, really, really good content. So yes, everybody, thank you for watching episode 82 of Pizza in the Break Room. T. Hotshot Couture J. We're gonna come back with Jacob Grramegna in just 1 second.
Let's go.
We here now. We here. Yeah. It's in the break room, y'all. Holla, holla, holla. Woo!
Yes, sir.
You forgot to press the button.
How you doing, boss?
How's it going, guys? Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yes,
No worries.
yes.
Thank you for taking the time, brother. Appreciate you.
No
Thank you
problem.
for
No
making the time.
problem.
Yes. I was saying to everybody, like I watch amateur hour sports for a long time now. And when I say a long time, I'll tell you honestly, it's been like about a year. It's been about a year that I've been watching.
It's a long time.
And what got me, I'll tell you what got me onto amateur hour sports. Because I find myself arguing about Pascal Siakam regularly. Everywhere I turn, left, right, I'm arguing with somebody about Pascal Siakam. And one day I was on YouTube and you had like a title about Pascal. I'm like, okay, well, for sure I'm tuning in. But I turned it on and I was just sitting there watching. I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Yeah. And I just pressed subscribe.
Appreciate that.
And I've been watching ever since.
Everybody's got like the one video that kind of got them into the channel, I guess. So it's nice to hear stuff like that.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Like to find stuff on the Pascal side. We'll clear up some Pascal stuff in a little bit, right, Fitz? Right? You think? You see where people stand on Pascal, break some ties and things like that, maybe. The basketball expertise from that. What do we got here? Be blessed. Phoenix, that's, we're here. It's a safe space for everybody, Phoenix. So, just, oh, we're here. Oh man. So I did some interneting on you. And before we get like diving into the Raptors and stuff, I read I guess it's a paper that you did in school talking about kind of when you were in university.
Oh, yes. I know this.
Well, a paper, what do we call these things? I don't know. Essay. I didn't do the whole university thing all the way through. So.
I don't even know what we'll call it a paper. We'll call it a paper.
We'll call it a paper. So it talked about you just being around sports, I guess, originally for most of your life.
Yes.
Playing soccer. So that's just been your life. Soccer was a thing growing up. That was the main sport for you.
It still is.
Like how did it start?
Just sports in general. How did it start?
Yeah.
My family is very, very big into soccer. Got into soccer when I was 4 years old. I played soccer from when I was 4, competitively up until my last year of university, which was a couple of years ago. Since then, I play recreationally now. But soccer was always like kind of, I guess we'll call it the first love is soccer.
Okay.
But as I started to kind of dive into the content space, I just enjoy talking about basketball a little bit more. I'm not sure if it's the intricacies of it or like the analytics behind it, but I just love talking about basketball. And I still like love soccer. I watch tons of soccer, but basketball took over from a content creation perspective. Just kind of just happened. When I first started Amateur Hour, it was all sports. So I did talk about basketball. I talked about soccer, and I just found myself always enjoying the basketball stuff a bit more. But yeah, been very, very big into sports my entire life. It's always been a big part of my life. And now it literally is my life, which is great.
Okay. So you're saying that it started off with all sports and then it just kind of like stuck to basketball. What was it about this that made you, what was it about the basketball content now that made you just figure out that you're staying here?
Well,
was it your audience that chose it for you, or?
Definitely was an audience at the time. There wasn't enough of an audience to really choose anything. Okay. So how it started, I guess, is kind of important. Started September 2019. I think at some point in every like young athlete's life, they just realize they're not good enough to ever take that professionally. So what I wanted to do, I always wanted to be in sports. I wanted to be in sports media. All I've ever been told is you got to make your own sports media experience. It's very hard to get an entry level spot. So just make your own experience. So that's exactly what I did. It was kind of just like dipping my toe in the water of content, doing the podcast. So I challenged myself. I did like a podcast. It was on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever, every single day from like October 2019 to April 2020.
Wow.
And then it was, I really enjoyed it. It wasn't picking up a ton of traction. So I started doing video stuff for YouTube, and those started doing a little bit better. And then based on research, like I was really working hard to take it to the next level. It was all the research pointed to like you need to find a specific thing to grasp onto to find a specific audience. And yeah, make it till you make it. Exactly what it was. And it was a bit of fake it till you make it to start because I didn't really know what I was doing. I learned on the job,
Right.
very hands-on learner. So I like that. But anyways, I realized I needed to find a specific niche to stick to. And I don't know. I found most of the podcasts were basketball related. And I just like talking about basketball. I think I just enjoy the nuances of the game and how pretty much everything has an effect on the game, has an effect on the scoring. Like you can't take a possession off or you're going to get burned type of thing. It's the additional stats and analytics that go into it, how you can really, not that you, maybe this is kind of blanket it, but you can like almost quantify everything about basketball. You can quantify like a guy who maybe doesn't score much, but you can say like his plus minus or the net rating with him on the court versus off the court or percentages to shooting. All of those stats, I just really like diving into that. Very big on analytics, very big on statistics. So that was more appealing to basketball. But it kind of chose me. I wouldn't say I chose it. It kind of chose me because I just found I liked it more. So once I started doing that in like June of 2020, the channel took off to where it is today.
Yeah, when I listen to you, you're really, 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 really in depth with the numbers and the stats.
It's good. I care a lot about it. I care a lot about what I say. So it's passion. It's straight passion.
A lot of research.
Actually, not really in the early stages. Yes, but I've just gotten to the point where I can just come up with a topic, turn on the camera, and I talk for 10 to 15 minutes. I know how long in my head, how it should last. I just like I don't like I'm not trying to sound cocky, but like it's kind of all there. I've done like 500-600 of these now that it's just not quite automatic, but I'm always looking at stuff and I just remember it for videos, and I'll just start a video and halfway through I'll think about a stat and I'll just know how to loop that in before the end of the video type of thing.
No, yeah, because when I do watch it, I listen to what you're saying, but then I also listen and I'm like, how the hell did he say all this?
I guess it's practice. It's just like there's like 750 videos on the channel now. About 650 to 600 of them are like from actually doing videos, not just the podcast stuff. If you go back to the early channel, it's all like podcast stuff. But yeah, it's just practice, to be honest.
It's also, it doesn't get like somebody can pick it up easy. Like you're speaking with a lot of information behind it. So somebody like myself, basketball player, like I'm tuned into exactly what you're saying, but it also kind of can still speak to the folks that aren't that into it. So just the way that you deliver the information is interesting as well, I find. Because like you say, it's a lot of data. There is analytics, but it doesn't come off like that, if that makes sense, right? So yeah, that's what I like about it as well.
I guess I try to like not dumb it down. I try to simplify it because there's like there's people like maybe yourselves who understand the game a lot more than maybe there's like 12, 13-year-old watching, or I run into guys like 10, 11 years old who are with their parents, and their parents come say like my son watches your channel, and so if it works for people, I guess like yourselves, but also works for young people. So I guess I appreciate that. I'll take it as a compliment that it can work for different age groups.
Well, I mean, it's tough, and I never ever figured I'd be on the internet doing such a thing right now. So even just my journey, and I didn't really have that drive to be on the internet or to do something in this fashion. It's still tough when you got to turn on the lights or put something out there, put yourself out there. I think earlier you mentioned, it matters what you say as well, no matter what you're talking about, right? So it does. It's quite interesting.
Appreciate that. I'm sorry. I'm just giggling. That's my friend Luke. He does not have a kid. That's why I
Shout
kinda
out to
laugh.
Luke.
Yes.
Luke, what up with you?
That is awesome.
I hope he doesn't have a kid. Jesus Christ.
See, that's the difference between being live, right? That's crazy. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Good luck to Luke on whatever happens the rest of the evening after that for you. Oh, man.
Creating on Family Day, Luke.
That's funny. That is funny. So when did you really think your podcast was a thing?
I think once I got to like 1,000 subscribers, that was the point where I'm like, okay, I can definitely make something of this. To preface, I didn't really think it would ever go anywhere. It was always, I mean, it worked. It worked in the sense I wanted to put this on my resume so that when I apply to a job, internship, I have this, I have experience. I've worked with like audio stuff, camera stuff, and it worked. It served that purpose for my current job and also for a previous internship. But I just like viewership and subscribers were steadily increasing from middle of 2020 to the end of 2020. And I don't know. I just kept working at it. I was always hungry to improve. I was trying to make sure like every video was better than the previous video.
Mm-hmm.
How could I improve production? How can I myself improve with what I'm saying? And that's definitely gotten better to what it was previously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I hit 1,000 and then I was able to monetize the channel, that was where I was like, okay, like I can definitely create a community out of this. And still, so it shocks me every day where it is.
So you're growing right now. So I remember when you had like a couple thousand, but now subscribers, where are you at right now?
13,500.
And you're heading to 14.
Yes.
That's
Hopefully by like the summer.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. It is crazy to think about. Put in perspective, because obviously it's easy to look at like all these massive YouTube channels, hundreds of thousands, millions, but I saw a post once, if you're ever like wondering about your following, like, imagine that in like a gym. So imagine put all these people, put 13.5K people in like a stadium, a small stadium. You could like pretty much fill it up. That was a real eye opener. Like, man, like that is a good amount of people, and I'm happy I can spread that sort of impact.
What's you feel a responsibility to it, I guess, too, right? More than anything now.
Yeah, sometimes I feel I put too much on myself. I was just speaking about this. I did a stream a little bit before this where I was kind of in a state middle of this season where I really felt the need that I had to. There were like so let's say like Siakim. You were talking about Siakim. I've always been very high on Siakim, and I felt like I was in the minority of people on that. So I feel like I had to kind of be louder than the criticism, and just I was trying to prove people wrong rather than just convey my opinion on Siakim. So I like Siakim, and there was a period where people were really hating on Pascal Siakam. So my videos were constantly trying to prove that theory wrong rather than just convey my opinion. And I felt, I guess I did feel a bit of responsibility. Like I really have to defend this guy. And I still partially do feel like the guy's worth defending. I need to go out of my way to defend them. And for this season, I felt like that a bit for Fred VanVleet, but I got to get back a little bit more to my, I did get a lot of,
you got the dream team right here, people.
I can swear on this, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. I was getting a lot of shit for my defensive Pascal Siakam for that Tampa season, but it's only like I truly believe in the player. I truly believed in the player, and then he goes on to have an All NBA season the year after. I'm like I'm never like, I
yeah.
told you so. I'm not like that. But I'm saying, like, I'm telling you guys, give these people time, because these people deserve your time and deserve your patience. And you see why, type of thing. So
Siakam's in the chat. Siakam's in the chat. Everybody, if you got Siakam emoji, put the Siakam emoji in the chat.
This guy's so happy. That's why you brought him on, eh?
Of course, we talking about.
Duh, I should have known. What was the heat you were getting for Siakam? Just straight, like what? So when it's not just all hate, then what is it? Okay, what do you think of Siakam? What sets him apart? What makes you want to back him?
Well, I think it was just because it was so unwarranted, the criticism. Like somebody in chat saying the post-championship, the Tampa season was tough. And it was tough, but it wasn't nearly as tough as people were making it out to be. It was like he was still a 21 point per game player, which grand scheme, like he's better than that, of course. And he needed to be better. But it was the notion that was it. Like he was never going to, like that was the player he was, and he was only going to stay like that. The Raptors needed to trade him. They needed to move off of him. But I was like, well, his values, like it's very clear he's a better player than he's showing here, because he was all NBA the season before, all NBA second team, in fact. Why are we just taking this as what he is, rather than thinking like, well, if he was that, and he's not even at his prime age yet, if he was this in 2019, 2020, when he made an all NBA second team, why are we just blanket stating that this is what he is, and it's not that? Well, he was that, so why can't he get back to that point, type of thing? So I think it comes from, like, I'm always a fan, but I think it came from, I had to go a little bit further to defend him, because there's all this, people are so loud about the hate, that I wanted to provide that online presence of, well, hang on, like why can't we be patient? Why can't we expect him to get back to that? And like you've been saying, like with Siakam, like you like that. I mean, I guess you liked that I was defending him, and I've had other people say, like, I like that you don't just shit on players, or just out of nothing. I like that you kind of give them time and defend people. So that's, I mean, I don't do it just to counter any points. It's always just what I believe, and I believed in Siakam because, you know, we are only scratching, I guess, the surface of his ability. Like we had the 2019-2020 season where the spin move was unguardable. And then season after, well, now everybody's kind of catching up to that. So what's the next evolution of his game? Now he's hitting mid-range shots. Now he's finding different ways to create at the rim. This season, now he's drawing way more fouls, going to the line way more. And he's got so many different ways to get to his spot that he didn't have in 2019-2020, but he evolved his game. He was like, he's 28 now. He was 25, 26 at the time. It wasn't even in his prime yet. So it's just the unnecessary criticism, and players deserve criticism sometimes, but it's taken to too far of an extreme sometimes.
Yeah, his criticism did get very, very extreme, and that is one of the things that I actually really appreciate about Siakam is when I first acknowledged that he was great, or the potential to be great, was the year before the championship season. When I just watched him, the year before the championship season, my thing I used to say to people is the only person that could stop Siakam in the league was Kawhi Leonard, by him not passing him the ball. All right, because when I watched him play, I'm like, this guy he seems unstoppable, right? So long story short, they win the championship. He comes back the next year and he does better than he did the previous year, without Kawhi. Plus, the team does better record-wise. Yeah. But then they go into the pandemic, and that issue happens. Right.
Of course. I mean, he was horrible in the playoffs.
Yeah, I couldn't even defend him then. Like I could never really even defend him then.
No,
right? Like,
but
there's no excuse. I couldn't figure out anything to say.
There's no excuse for how he played against the Celtics, but it's a 7-game sample size. Take it like I'm not defending how bad it was, but it's a 7-game sample size. It's coming off of a 3-month lockdown where he didn't pick up a basketball. Yes, he needed to be better, but that's still today like the defining moment of his career. If I to this day, if I speak positively about Siakam, it's, well, what about the 2020 against the Celtics? Yeah. Like, it's 2023 now. He's a completely completely different player to what he was then. They exploited the, I guess he was, first of all, he was cold because of the lockdown. Second of all, down on confidence. Third of all, it just, his game wasn't there because, like I was saying, it was like at the time he had just a spin move really, but now his game is completely different. He's just such a completely different player to what he was at that point. So I think it's unfair. It's unfair to just continue to reference that. I think it's important to say that happened and take that into consideration when you talk about him. But if that's like the only thing you have against him, like, I think it's time to just acknowledge he's just a great player.
What I love about him was that he went through that issue and the internet was horrible towards him.
Very.
Like, the internet was like super horrible, like nasty.
All NBA too, wasn't just Raptors fans, like the entire NBA fan base jumped on it.
They were like, I don't even want to just repeat some of the stuff that I was reading on the thing. And I'm just thinking, like, this guy's not going to come back. And if he comes back, like, how is he going to want to play for us, you know? And he came back the next year and it's like he acted like that didn't happen. Ben Simmons went through that issue and it crippled him. It crippled Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
But Siakam just decided, like, I'm just going to be better. I'm just going to be better. And I appreciate him going through that adversity and becoming like a gem.
Yeah. Like two-time All-NBA, two-time All-Star. Like that. Like if you're older Toronto Raptors, like that just doesn't happen for this franchise, quite honestly. Like we're a little more spoiled now because, you know, you've had Lowry who made 6, you had DeRozan who made a bunch.
Yeah.
But like that is just not normal for the Toronto Raptors franchise, and not really enough. Doesn't get enough acclaim for that because it is impressive. It is impressive, especially coming back from where he was. And, you know, after that playoff series, he did struggle in the Tampa season. I think a lot of the confidence was still down from the playoffs, and a lot of that still kind of lingered with him. But like you said, he worked and he just decided to get to the next level, didn't fold over. And last season he came back and made All NBA again. So he's shown his ability to fight through adversity, which is again impressive.
Phoenix Play says, I have a question for the panel. What is the next step in Pascal's game outside of the pull-up threes?
So Phoenix is one of my most consistent viewers. Like talking ball with him. So we've cited that Siakam's next evolution, if he has a next one, which we think he can get to. We don't know if he will get there. We think he can do it though. Would be pull-up threes. The 1920 season he had that. He hasn't really had it since. That'd be the next evolution. Other than that, I would say if he can keep on producing from an offensive standpoint where he's like carrying the massive load on offense, but also can bring that defensively and can be just as effective on the other end of the court. Because I feel like a lot of this season, like, yes, he's playing like 40 minutes a game sometimes, but sometimes the offense takes a little bit too much out of him. He doesn't produce the same defensively. So if he can be that, like, he's already a great two-way player. But if he can be elite offense and on defense, I mean, that just takes his game to a whole new level as well.
What do you think, T-Dot?
I think the same thing. I've always thought of Pascal Siakam. Pascal Siakam's amazing. I just don't want him to have the ball with 10 seconds left on the clock. That's my only thing. That's my heart. I don't know the stats on that. My heart is when I see the game on the line and he has the ball. That's where I get nervous. You're not comfortable with that. I get nervous there. And it's also the question of with the Raptors, and you could argue that the Raptors are good or not good enough to technically win a championship. I don't think right now they're good enough, but it's not necessarily him that would be taking the shot either. And I think that's the problem with the Raptors. He can't, same argument. He can't be the best player on a championship team is what I think.
Okay.
Unless we come, that's what I think.
Why couldn't he take the shot?
Why couldn't he? I don't know. I think
because
he could.
Remember, championship year, I was always complaining of Kawhi taking the shot, taking that bad shot. A last second shot was always a bad last second shot. You said, don't worry, he's practicing. And then come the playoff, he hits that one shot.
I'll
that
tell
I
you
that
why.
I was complaining about all year.
Are you
Without-
talking about
without-
Kawhi
Yeah,
with the shot? I thought you're citing Siakam. This is one example, but the last field goal of Game 6 was Siakam going 1-1 with Draymond, which
Yeah.
iced the game. I mean, that's one specific example. But you're gonna say something. You're gonna say. You go ahead.
Sometimes he doesn't even get the shot off is my problem as well. That's sorry, go ahead, bro.
Do you think? Because I understand that point of view. I don't quite agree. I wouldn't fully disagree though. Do you think that's also part of it is play calling sometimes where it's just stick it in his hands and kind of pray he gets a shot? I think so. 1920 Raptors were so good in the clutch.
Yeah.
A lot of that was Kyle Lowry had the ability to find the mismatches and find the best guy to take the last shot. The Raptors were so good in the clutch that year. That's why their record was so good.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it right now is you kind of stick the ball in a guy's hand. This is a little bit of a beef I have with Nick Nurse. I'm a fan of Nick Nurse, and
you don't have to be.
I think no, I am. I think he should keep his job. But a part of what I don't like about Nick Nurse, and it's been consistent since he started here, is the last sort of play call shot. Like Kawhi Leonard, the Game 7 shot, amazing shot. But the best play we came up with is Kawhi shooting over an outstretched Joel Embiid with Ben Simmons trailing beside him. Is that really the best shot we could have gotten?
After dribbling 3/4 away around the court.
Yeah, now it went in, but okay. Is the best play give the ball to Kawhi, get out of the way? Maybe with the way Kawhi was playing it was, but Siakam's not quite Kawhi Leonard. But I think there was a lot of games last season where the Raptors were once again a pretty good clutch team where the ball was in his hands and he would just find ways to make shots. This season, I don't see it as much. I think you can put part of it on Siakam and the way he plays, but I do think something has to be said about the play style as well, which causes that. But I understand your point on you don't trust him in the clutch.
I'm a big Nurse guy, but I also think right now he's a little bit stale. So when he came in, it was genius, the stuff that he was doing. And now he's just kept going with that stuff and not made those adjustments as much and shown that he's actually the genius. He was ahead of the game. Now the game's caught up to him, right? And then, you mentioned quickly that you think he shouldn't be fired or he should keep his job. I think so too, but I could see it just from a new voice perspective as well. I don't want it, but I could also see that because if he's not adjusting, then the players it's gonna be an issue with the players.
I completely agree. I think you're spot on with that. But I think what the adjustment this season that the league caught up with is the lack of rim protector we have that's been exposed. Now we have that. So now he has the chance to evolve further. And these 23 games the rest of the season would be quite telling to, okay, now you've got the chance to evolve. And then the offseason, even more so of putting the right team in place. And then next year, if there's those evolutions we're looking for that get him ahead of the curve again, then I'll be content to give him an extension. If it's still stale, I like that word. Then it would be like, we understand he's a great coach, but maybe it's best for both sides to split.
Okay, you say he's a great coach. I believe that he got that respect throughout the championship season. The very next season, he showed me personally that he wasn't as great as people had made him out to be, and that's because he wasn't willing. Pardon?
He won Coach of the Year,
but he wasn't using his bench the way that, for instance, Dwayne Casey was using the bench. And people say, well, because the bench wasn't good. But I believe you have to use them to get them good, right? And I feel like he rides his players way too much. And if you're a good coach, you got to figure out a way to utilize the pieces that you have.
I think right now we're top heavy, though. I think you're starting to see the adjustment. Like our bench wasn't good, man.
You can't say that because there's players that leave our team and go to other teams and are
but
working
not but I'm talking like the bottom, like the guys that when you get into foul trouble, so not like the first wave. Like when you start getting into foul trouble, your starter gets 3 early. Bench guys got to play like 8 minutes in the first half, and he needs to get spelled. So I'm like Malachi Flynn. I'm not a Malachi Flynn guy. So Malachi Flynn was all right as the third guard on the team. As the second guard on the team, no, it doesn't work for me. That's a huge difference. So playing the bench is one thing, but you can see after, when they have to play extended periods, it changes their impact on the game, I think.
I agree with that. Like I'm also not very high on Flynn. I would say, like, yes, I think he could be doing a better job with some of the lesser players in this team and getting to that level. And you talk about like the Dwayne Casey tenure where a lot of these players developed, but Nick Nurse was also part of that coaching staff, and not like Nick Nurse wasn't a part of that development.
He engineered the bench mob. That's his squad.
Exactly, and that's the thing that bothers me, because I believe that he knows that the value of that. So, for instance, Dwayne Casey was the head coach. Nick Nurse was coaching the bench mob. Like, the bench mob were his guys. So now, why does he allow?
Guys. Now he's still right. He's still
why does he not have another set of guys that another coach develops that he uses?
The caliber of players is a bit different. Like the bench mob at the time, CJ Miles was a seasoned vet, great player. Jakob Poeltl was drafted 9th. Siakim was a first-round pick. Like, so was Malachi Flynn. But that was a time where the Raps had really built up a really deep team as well. Maybe you could say we could perceive it as deep because of how they were able to get so much out of those players. But like, that bench was Poeltl, Siakam, CJ Miles,
Fred VanVleet,
who
Delano Wright.
DeLon Wright as well, who was a first-round pick. Norman Powell came into the fold as well. Like that's Norman Powell's excellent player. Poeltl's an excellent player. Siakam's an excellent player. Fred VanVleet, excellent player. Like, two of those guys are all-stars. One of them is Norman Powell's a 6th man of the year candidate this year. Poeltl was a lottery pick. Like, I think they had more to work with. I agree, though. Like, I look at the Malachi Flynn developmental project where that hasn't quite worked out. I'm still trying to figure out if that's a nurse thing more than a Malachi Flynn thing. I don't think we've seen enough to indicate that it's definitely a nurse thing type of deal.
Malachi Flynn hit 72 points.
Oh, get out of here, guy! At the Walmart, in the Walmart parking lot, guy. Stop this.
I'm confused why that. Like, obviously, that's just a pro-am, but I'm confused. He can shoot,
right?
And like Juancho can shoot. Juancho Hernangomez can shoot. In practice, apparently he's their best shooter, but in the NBA, he's a 28% shooter. I just struggle to see how that's a Nick Nurse thing more than anything. And it's like, well, maybe he got more minutes, but then you see him play, you're like, God damn, can I play this guy any more than he's currently playing?
Okay, I was watching an interview today, a snippet of from San Antonio, and he went to Atlanta. What's that young boy name again?
Atlanta,
San Antonio, and then he went to Atlanta.
Oh, he went to Atlanta. Oh, yeah. DeJounte Murray.
Yes, DeJounte Murray. So he was talking about how when he was there, he was like getting stressed from the coaching and the team, the environment, right? And he's like, he would kill Tony Parker in practices, like it was definitely him as the alpha, but he would never play. And then they would even like bring in players from overseas and start them over him, even though he was like the most dominant person in practice. And it wasn't until like 3 years later that he started playing him. And he's like, he asked to be traded because like just the system there and the way that they deal with people was too much, right? So I'm just thinking, maybe it's the system, like you say, like if Flynn could get the ball in the net for 72 points somewhere, that means he can get the ball in the net.
I can get the ball in the net for 72 points somewhere, guy.
Right. So
it might like there's a lot of Flynn where we see him play where he just isn't doing that, and beyond, like, his 3-point percentage actually is quite good this season. But okay, we need Flynn to be able to play without the ball in his hand because he's just not quite good enough to take the ball out of somebody else's hands. That's for a lot of people, that's a big shock in the NBA because Flynn in college, Mountain West Conference Player of the Year, also Defensive Player of the Year, but he's a point guard. He was very high output pick and roll player, was best pick and roll player in the nation. But he had to get to a point with the Raptors where he could be effective without the ball all the time that he just wasn't able to do. Again, I don't know. That's quite a Nick Nurse thing. Why that hasn't happened for him compared to, I don't know, some other success stories in the past for the Raptors.
Yeah.
Okay, another example that I have, right? I'm gonna give you, and just another example.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're gonna go with the Alexanders, right?
Yeah.
So we got Nikhil,
Yes.
Alexander Walker, and then we got Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yeah.
Right? Shea's a superstar.
100%.
Nikhil is lucky that he's on a team right now.
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, kind of.
Right. I'm just hyperbole.
Yes.
But
yes.
if you speak to anybody that knows them, it's like some people will say that Nikhil is actually the better player. You know what I mean? So it's crazy to think that all it takes is like opportunity and situations.
Yeah, sometimes it's situational. I agree. Sometimes it's also, like I said, like some like you need, the NBA is different. Like there are guys who are sensational college players, but like the NBA is different. You're not always going to be the best player. Can you be effective as not the best player? And if you need the ball in your hands, you need to be really, really good, or else you're not going to, like, if you're not really, really good, you're not going to have the ball in your hands. And when the ball is not in your hands, how else are you going to affect an NBA game? That's the biggest, I think, shock for a lot of players to get drafted into the league. I think there's you see a lot of second round picks where you're just like, they don't get a lot of NBA playtime, but you're like, man, they are like Delano Banton in the G League. He is so good. He is, I G League season, I 905 season tickets last year. He was unguardable in the G League, but in the NBA, it's just so different because now you can't just pick up the ball and fight your way to the rim and score. There's better defenses. So how can you affect the game differently? He doesn't really have a backup to that. So that's why he tears up the G League, but the NBA, he's still not quite found that sort of level. But you're right. It's situational, and maybe that is Nick Nurse. I don't think there's enough evidence for me to say like it's grounds to replace him based on the I wouldn't even call it a trend here, but I think there is some preliminary evidence to suggest that, okay, development isn't happening. Why has that stopped? Is it because the caliber of the draft picks, or is it the caliber of the coaching staff?
Right. That's fair to say. I mean, I'll never call for his job, but I mean, if they want to give somebody else
I'll just talk bad about that boy all day. Oh, that's interesting. All right, so more Raptors. The Raptors fans weren't happy at the trade deadline. What did you think of how the trade deadline went, just overall? No, I mean, Turtle, and yeah, what'd you think?
Well, I was disappointed because I really don't care for the play-in tournament. Like, obviously, okay, cool playoff experience. If you win, if you go through the play-in tournament, cool playoff experience, but you run into Milwaukee or Boston, like, we're not going to kid ourselves and say we're going to win that series. If we get one game, that would be probably a good outcome from playing those teams. So I didn't really understand the idea of just kind of getting better. You got a little bit better. So that was frustrating initially. In like the couple weeks since then, would I rather this than force a bad trade for OG, because all the offers were bad for OG. They were all 3 bad first round picks with no good player accompanied. They wanted a good player. Yeah. They didn't get that. So, okay. Fred VanVleet, the Clippers were offering garbage for Fred VanVleet. So I'm happy we didn't just take a bad trade. So it's frustrating, but I think it's less frustrating than making a bad trade and forcing something out of it. I'm still like, I'm still kind of annoyed that we got slightly better and we're going to be in the play-in spot. Because I really don't see that as a good spot for us. But they wanted Pirtle. Getting his bird rights was important.
Talk to us about that.
About the bird rights?
Yeah.
So what players' bird rights do, it gives you a bit more flexibility for the tax. So you can go over the salary cap limit to sign the player, and without paying the tax. And
I didn't even know that.
Only like the top 10 teams should be even thinking about paying the tax. So the Raptors are not that. So you can go a little bit over the salary cap to sign a player because you have their bird rights. It's named after Larry Bird because from what I know, he was so good that he deserved more money, but like they didn't want to handicap the rest of the team because he was worth that money. It incentivizes players staying with their current team and not leaving in free agency, and incentivizes a bit more of the team giving the player what they're worth and still being able to put a team there. So we have that for Pirtle, which is key. It's debatable whether it was worth trading all that to get off the Kem Birch contract, who was in the deal, and to get his bird rights. And you still have to pay Trent and Van Vliet, but you also have their bird rights. So what's going to be important end of the season is that if you can't afford to pay all of them, another team is likely to sign and trade. So like a Van Vliet, if they let Fred Van Vliet go, it's likely that the team that wants him will need his bird rights to afford him. So a sign and trade is the likeliest scenario there.
I was just telling some people that exact same thing the other day. That it's like basically the whole, all right, I was a little bit pissed at first, but we did get a little bit better, which technically I think is good. I think it's good for Scotty's development. That's a whole other story because it pushes him down a little bit. But if all goes well, having those bird rights it gives us a little bit of power. Like I think those players, more Fred would be inclined to do it. I know Fred's like a bet on himself guy and he'll go for the money and all that good stuff, but I think he'd just do it from a Masai and a Raptors perspective and be a part of that. But I'm not as upset as I was a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and I like Pirtle. I like.
Oh, I love Pirtle. I was in the offseason. I was like, this is a really good option for the Raptors to go and get. But it got to the point where I was like, okay, what's the point of trying to salvage this season based on where we are?
Well, we didn't see the season going like this in the offseason because we thought we were going to be better than last season.
Exactly.
But then when Pascal went down in Dallas, it's like the whole ship went down.
Yeah, well, they treaded water for a little bit in that spot, and then it just like they were 13-12. They had just beaten the Lakers, and they had a back-to-back at Orlando. I was like, okay, great. Like, big chance to go 3 games above 500. Fine, like we've been just at 500 all year. This is our chance to go on a run. And then we lost both of those games, Orlando, and we have not been above 500 or equal to 500 since then. That was where it just went completely off the rails.
Well, shouting out my main man, Phoenix here. Phoenix, I'd just like to say that I think OG Anunoby is, first of all, actually the best player on the Raptors, and he is an all-world defensive player. So we'll put that in there. And I love Pirtle's defense. I'm not underrating him. I think he's wicked for the team. It's perfect. It's perfect.
I love Pirtle.
No, I know.
I'm just like, would I rather finish
big
like
picture
8 or 9 or
12th?
The type of thing. That's my thing. But I get it. Like I said, I get it. I understand all the decisions. If you're gonna get an offer in February for OG, you're gonna get a better version of the offer in June when teams have more time to change things. Yeah. So I get it. It's a little frustrating, but I get it.
And then I had a question written down asking you what you thought the ceiling for the team was, but I think you just answered that question.
For this year?
Yeah, and that's a game. That's a game. If they can make it through the play in, they can win a game against the 1 or the 2 seed. You're feeling?
Yes. That's ceiling. I mean, I honestly, like if they win 2 games against one of those teams, I would be pretty impressed.
Okay, let me ask you this, T-Dot. You always say when we ask you how good, with the Bills' chance of winning the championship, you say if every team is playing at their best. Bills win the championship. So if every team is playing at their best, how well do the Raptors do
in the playoffs?
Yeah.
So if the Celtics are at their best, like they're a very high volume 3-point team. So if all their role players, all their main guys are hitting threes, like you're toast. That is the most efficient offense in NBA history as they were at the start of the year. Like,
And is their defense still up there as well?
yes, and Robert Williams is back as well. Honestly, God, I hate the Celtics, but that offense, because they're a very high volume 3-point team with Joe Mazzulla, if they are efficient and at their best, you can't even win a game against them. How good they are. The Bucks, like, if they're at their absolute peak, I think you can win a game there. But again, like, I'm saying, like, if they're at their peak, the Raptors would also be at their peak. And what do the Raptors look like when they're at their peak? OG was leading the league in the DPOI race for a while. Siakam was a top 10 player in the league at the start of the year. So I guess it goes both ways for that conversation. But like, I'm very, like, if the Celtics put it together, they're pretty much unstoppable. I think in terms of, like, because they're high three-point shooting team, there's more variance there. So that's where I kind of trust the Bucks a bit more. But if they're at peak, then the Celtics, it's their championship to lose.
That's fair. I like that.
Like, when the going gets tough in a playoff game and the Celtics can't rely on that 3-point shot as much, or maybe there's a game where the shot's not falling, what's their backup? Do I trust that more than, like, a backup for the Bucks? No, I trust the Bucks more in that tough spot. But if the Celtics don't ever get to that tough spot, they're not getting stopped, I think.
Yeah, that's about right, man. He doesn't like Jason. Fitz doesn't like Jason Tatum. That's why.
I like.
You like.
So one of my early videos, one of my early podcasts was I wouldn't call it a hate piece on Jason Tatum, but
when's your birthday, man?
It's so funny that
it was wow, like, it was this guy in his second year. I'm like, he has done nothing to warrant this, like, all-star praise or, like, even MVP praise. I'm like he's a good player, but he is nowhere near what people are saying he is. I'm not saying he won't ever be a good player, but at the time, I'm like, his shot tendencies are that of a player with inexperience, and he doesn't deserve this praise. And then, he just broke the All-Star game scoring record. And I'm always, every time I see him do that, it's not like I hate him, but it's just like people are definitely thinking of this podcast where, I'll be honest, I didn't think he'd ever get this good, but, like, he cleaned up his shot selection. He was a very mid-range dominant player. He definitely modeled his game off of Kobe, and then he shifted to a more at the rim and 3-point approach, and he mixed in the mid-range game, which he's very good at, and that took his game to the next level. But it was that change that got him to that next level, which at the time he wasn't there. So I guess it also turned into, like, I did the first one where I said he was overrated, and then I got a lot of shit. So okay, I'll clear this up that comment up in a second. But then it got to the point where I got so much hate that I was like, you know what, screw you guys, and I doubled down on it. So every time he does something like this, I'm just reminded of that. The Tatum jersey was a gag gift based on this podcast. My friend got me a Tatum jersey just as a kind of FU gift to me. So yeah, that's why I have one. And it was like, for my streams, we did it was a fun little bit that like, for channel points on Twitch, you could make me wear it and make me look like an idiot. So yeah, so I got a bit of a history with Tatum content.
Bada bing. All right.
Yeah.
That's funny. But
he's an excellent player. I mean, there's a comment that he choked in playoffs last season. I thought that was funny, but no, he's a superstar. And like I'll keep the same energy for Tatum as I had for Siakam. Like, that was Tatum's lowest moment. How's he going to respond this year in the playoffs? That will be very telling. And he's also very young still.
Jaylen Brown is the guy that I like on that team.
Oh, I liked a lot of the team. Jaylen Brown as well. I thought he didn't get enough credit for how he played last year in the playoffs, because he was playing very well. Tatum didn't have a good finals, but Brown was largely, like, quite good, but that doesn't get the credit.
Floor. Yeah, all over the floor. Offense, defense, crazy.
And this 55 in the All-Star game where nobody was playing defense, and he got 40 minutes on the court. You know what? I'm not falling for this Jason Tatum propaganda. I don't care what they want to try to sell me.
I'm not gonna hate like that. There's no defense in any All-Star game, and he got.
But this was different. This was like no defense.
That's like it's like saying like LeBron broke this all-time score record. He played 20 seasons. Anybody can break it. They played 20 seasons. It's still impressive, you know.
So how do you think about the All-Star weekend this weekend, anyways? Or some highlights, or some lowlights?
I don't like how much shit the All-Star game gets. Like, we know nobody plays defense. We know it's gonna be pretty boring. We know the guys don't want to try very hard, but like every year people expect it to be different. Like we know what it is at this point. So I mean that was fine. The game was fine. We're always gonna live in the shadow of 2020 where
That was
it was such an electric game, right?
Sick.
Kyle Lowry was taking charges and it was amazing.
That was a game.
The All-Star festivities, the skills challenge is kind of dull. 3-point contest is fun, and the dunk contest was amazing this year. McClung, shout out him, completely revolutionized his life in the space of 30 minutes. Like he probably made more money this week than he's made in his entire life combined.
How about that? That's wild.
Yeah, they showed some sort of stat like that.
Oh, really? Like, I'm sure of it. It's like he signed a deal with Puma. He got he got a shoe deal with Puma right before the event. He won the event. The week leading up to the event, he got called up to the Sixers NBA team. So, like, shout out him for making that happen. And he knew he had the most to gain out of the dunk contest because the other guys are all NBA guys to different degrees. But he's not. He's a G League guy. But he had the most to gain fame-wise, and he prepared. And, oh, my God, what a show he put on. That was so much fun to watch.
That was amazing. Every dunk, first attempt.
First try as well. Yeah, that was insane. I think his first dunk was like one of the best dunks I've ever seen. He jumped over both guys, touched the backboard, and like threw it down. That was insanity.
You can't do that?
I used to be able to touch the rim. I can't do that anymore though. In high school, I could touch the rim. Yeah. No, in high school, I got close to dunking, but I've never dunked a basketball.
Huh.
Sick.
I cannot do what he did. No.
That was wild. It's good, but he's been doing that for a while. Like people that kind of watch basketball know who he is. Like,
yeah.
Right. So it's good to the rest of the world because you're right. Like just the story. People are learning about him now. Like I was watching when he was doing the dunk offs, and they were like, "Oh, he can dunk better than Zion that year," and stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Because him and Zion were the two big names. Like him and Zion were like
story. Yeah, such a cool story for him. So yeah, man, big up to him. That was wild.
Man, he's 6'2", and his head was like grazing the rim. Just unbelievable, man. I can't even imagine those hops. That's insane. That's just. It's inexplicable. It's unprecedented almost.
All right, Phoenix Plays says, question for the panel: what is the expectation for the second half of the season, knowing we have the 5th hardest remaining schedule in the league? So
it's not quite second half, but yeah, go ahead.
I'll answer this. A couple weeks ago, we had finished a road trip, and they said, okay, from this moment out, we have the easiest schedule in the league. I don't know how it changed.
Orlando.
But now it seems like we have the hardest schedule in the league. Okay. My theory is if the Raptors can go on a roll to say hit like 8. Okay. I'm thinking if Raptors go on a roll and are able to make the play-in, that means that they're playing really good enough basketball and if they keep that consistent, they'll be able to challenge very well in the playoffs. So I'm thinking if we keep the momentum we have now we added Pirtle and add on to that momentum, I think the second half of the season is going to be very exciting. And if we can get like a 10-game winning streak, or okay, let's say 8. Say we get an 8-game winning streak, I think people will change their tune about the Raptors altogether. So that's just the way I look at it. So I think we have an exciting second half coming up.
I think my ceiling is a first round upset and then just get beaten down by better talent. That's my ceiling. That's the best that I can see.
In the second round?
Huh?
You're saying so a first round upset, then we get beat down in the second round?
Yeah.
Like absolute ceiling, yes.
That's my ceiling. That's my and I don't think we can do it.
Everything goes right. That's what I agree. I agree with that.
But that's it. I think it's going to be good to get. I don't know. I think it's good to get Pirtle now, but I think that's it. That's the best that I see happening. What I realistically think is going to happen is they'll be out. They'll be in each game in the playoffs, although it might be whatever 4-1. They'll be in it, and then there you go, Raptors.
Well, it's 23 games. It's like a quarter of the season left. I think that's a bit of a misconception with the All-Star break. It's way past halfway. I think we're gonna see a lot of growth in the next 23 games because Pirtle's there. He makes the team much better. I'm high on the player. I'm high on the fit. I think the season will end with some positivity that will kind of be a little upset that we only had 23 games of this. I think they'll have a good run, not like sensational, but I think they'll get themselves to 500 or better end of the season. And will kind of be like, okay, like this is really, really positive. Hopefully the playoffs don't kind of take that feeling down. If they get that far or they lose in play, and even that'll kind of deflate it a bit. But I think there will be a lot of optimism from once we get to the end of the season that, okay, this is something we can really build off for next season.
Yeah.
Are we in position to get to sixth place?
Not really.
Don't say it like that. Why are you saying it like that?
We're 6.5 games back right now.
Okay.
You'd have to ask a lot because you'd have to get there. You'd have to win that many games, and then the Knicks would have to fall off, and the Heat would have to fall off, and maybe even the Nets would have to fall off. Like you'd have to get a lot of teams falling off because there's still we're ninth right now. I think we're ninth. There's other teams who can take that place if one falls out of the top 6.
Okay, so we're 6.5 out of 6th place.
I believe it's that. I could verify quickly, but it's with only 23 games. Like I'm not saying it's impossible, but it is definitely quite improbable for that many teams. We're in 10th.
All right, everybody in the chat. Everybody in the chat, type a number 6 for 6th place.
Oh, sorry.
We want energy and spirit.
We're 4.5 games. We're 4.5 games out of.
Type a number 4 and a number 6.
So the Knicks are 4.5 games up on us. They're in 6th. Heat are 4 games up, and they're in 7th. So we'd have to leapfrog both of them.
All right.
Or the Nets as well. The Nets are the ones that are 6.5.
And then the play-ins, what? 10 and 9 make the play-in?
Yeah.
10. All right. So we're in play-in. But listen to this. This just sounds horrible. See, I can't speak like this. I'm just waiting for next year. Let's go Raptors.
Nah. I can't wait for next year.
If we're in the play-in, I'm all in. Like win the damn play-in. Get to the playoffs, wreak havoc, see what you can do. Get some experience type of thing.
Let's go.
That's good. Optimism's good. Like I said, man, first round upset. Good stuff. All right. Who is your favorite Raptor of all time?
I don't really have like favorite players, but it'd probably be Kyle Lowry. If I had to pick one, it'd be Kyle Lowry. Just greatest Raptor of all time. He really orchestrated the 7 years, 8 years of amazing basketball. Like I grew up, so I'm 23. I grew up, Raptors sucked, the Leafs sucked, the Jays sucked. Like it was all awful. Like all I knew was horrible Toronto sports.
Yeah.
Nothing was good. And then all of a sudden, like the Raptors are just, they're good and they're continuously getting better and better and better. They win a championship out of that.
When they win a championship, you're how old? 19?
Yeah.
Ooh, what a nice year to win a championship.
It's like how I could have never foreseen a Toronto sports team winning a championship in a sport of this magnitude. Like I'm big on soccer.
You have no idea, young man, what you're talking
right. Exactly. So I'm saying this, and old people older than me had it even worse. And now there's people who are like 16 years old who have only known success. And that's why I'm like so defensive of these good players, because all you know is good. So you're expecting more. Where I'm like I can't, like the fact that we're like When I was young, if we had a playing tournament, this would be like a parade. We're gonna be in the playing tournament, and we're like, we're so like, man, he's only been an All-Star twice, Siakim, All NBA twice. Like this just doesn't happen, man. We have to watch Bargnani for how many years?
For real.
So yeah, that's why it's Lowry, because the culture. You know what? Maybe it's a good thing that we're like this. The culture is different. We expect winning because of the culture that largely Kyle Lowry brought to this team. So I respect that a lot.
Okay.
That's
who are you guys' favorite Raptors of all time?
Who you got, Fitz?
Well, my favorite Raptor of all time used to be Alvin Williams.
Okay.
But now it's Spicy P.
Nice.
Pascal Siakam.
He's my favorite current player, but yeah.
Mine's always been Alvin Williams. Is my favorite. Just my straight favorite's Alvin Williams.
And you know why I like Alvin Williams? Because he was good, but he could not afford to take time off. You see, Vince Carter, he was a star, and I liked him. But when he wanted to sit, because he's feeling a little woozy, he could sit. Alvin Williams had to play through the broken knees. Alvin Williams couldn't take days off. He had to work because he's not a superstar, and he had to work.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? Alvin.
Lowry's the same. I like that. Say the same for Lowry. This guy was almost
they're
out of the league.
They're both Philly. They both went to Villanova, I think. Where did Lowry go to college? Is Villanova?
Lowry was Nova. Yeah.
And Alvin Williams too. So that's his OG. He always says. So that's wicked. And Lowry too, indeed. How do you say that? Who? All right, most impactful. So for a young person. So that's just your most impactful player, regardless, right? That's it. That's your favorite.
That's the greatest Raptor of all time. Yeah.
That's what they call the GROAT. I hate it when people started saying the GROAT. The GROAT. All right. How about Kawhi Leonard's place in Raptors lore?
Well, I mean, you have to you have to respect that playoff run. That was an all-time playoff run, and even the one and done, you put respect on that. There's definitely a debate on if he should have his jersey retired. Where do you guys sit on that?
Well,
I think I'm going to go quick. Well, because he's going to take a minute. I'm going to say I think he does just because he won the championship.
It's the Finals MVP.
Yeah, but I can also I can handle anybody that says Kyle Lowry as well. So, anyways, Fitz, you were going to say
Lowry's first.
Lowry's first. I don't hate Kawhi Leonard. It might seem like I hate Kawhi Leonard. What I hate is the fact that people give him so much praise for carrying a team that he didn't carry. The Raptors were an amazing team. DeMar DeRozan times, they were an amazing team. They just came up against LeBron James, who I call the show pony. The show pony had to go to the big show. Show pony always had to go to the big show. They were going to send the Raptors to the big show instead of the show pony, right? So the Raptors were always amazing. Kawhi Leonard came. He joined a team that was amazing already. Why did you put that comment there?
This is why.
So Kawhi Leonard's awesome, but he's not so awesome that he carried a bunch of scrubs to the championship.
Well, they showed that the season after they were a 2 seed. Like they were a good team. He obviously took them to the next level. We needed him to win a championship, but he also needed us to win a championship.
Right.
Like you're seeing, it doesn't just happen. Look at the Clippers. They haven't even been to a finals. So obviously Kawhi is the catalyst, but that is an elite team. Fred VanVleet was a future All-Star. Siakam was a future All-NBA, 2-time All-NBA, 2-time All-Star. Marc Gasol was a former DPOI. Serge Ibaka was having the best 2 years of his career. Serge was coming off the bench. Norman Powell is a 6th man of the year candidate. He was on the bench.
Norman Powell, if you watched any of these open gyms, Norman Powell was notorious for being the guy that dominated all practice, all drills. Norman Powell is essentially the guy.
Yeah. And he was getting 10 minutes a game in the finals because the team was so stacked. VanVleet was a future All-Star. he was coming off the bench. Like
Yeah.
Lowry was 6-time All-Star point. Like that team was just absolutely stacked.
Yeah.
But they needed the finisher like Kawhi, and like that Game 7 against Philly where things just weren't going well for the team.
What's that mean?
Jacob, come back.
Sorry.
There you go.
Maybe that Game 7 against Philly, he carried us a bit, but to say he carried us to a championship, like, okay, if he carried us, why can't he carry the Clippers, who spend all this money to put the team he wants around him?
Preach.
Why can't he win there when he's healthy? Because he has been healthy for some playoff runs.
Savage says, even in the bubble, Kawhi needed a competent team while we needed a closer. Both bounced. Game
exactly. 7. Oh, I don't want to say like, man, what if Kawhi had stayed? Because like, at the end of the day, he maybe didn't even really want to be in this city, but he played his ass off and had an all-time run for maybe a place that he didn't want to be. So I respect that. And he wanted to go to LA. I can respect that decision. But
here's my take.
I agree with that point. Exactly.
Here's my take. In the bubble, as y'all know, I really, 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 really rate Pascal Siakam. But when we were playing against Boston, we were playing 6 against 4, and Pascal was on Boston's team. I felt that if Nurse even if Nurse just took him off and put somebody else on, we'd have beat Boston. Pascal was another Boston player in that series.
It's just what stings is the fact that the Raptors were like maybe a Norman Powell layup away from winning Game 7. It was that Marcus Smart block that I like think about all the time.
Right, but just think of
with Siakam playing like that, they still almost beat Boston.
That's what I'm saying.
That's how good that team was.
Exactly. And I'll like if you even put Boucher in instead of Pascal. Not saying that I hate Pascal.
Yeah,
if he put Boucher in instead, like Boston wouldn't have been able to beat us. Yeah. But I understand that you can't take like your fledgling superstar off and keep him on the bench during the playoffs. Like I understand like the ramifications of something like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can't like you said, you can't defend that series. He was just horrible. He was so horrible. That's not what defines him as we've been. That should not be what defines his career.
Bubble's tough. Bubble's tough, man. Just even no matter what happened in the bubble. LA won, god damn it, in the bubble. It shouldn't have won. like it was all messed up. But damn it. Fred VanVleet. Let's first of all, you think he stay or go? What do you think? Stay or go? End of the day.
I think he will stay. I think he will stay.
And do you believe him to be the clubhouse leader, I guess, just from a team perspective? He's the heartbeat of the Raptors. How much of that is in there for you? I don't see a lot of people are making this narrative that there's locker room troubles. I just don't see it. Me neither. I'm not saying he's the leader, but I don't think there's a problem locker room wise. And you know what? When a team is like 7 games under 500, I hope you're upset with the team, right? I don't want you guys to be happy 23-30 on the season or whatever the Raptors were at one point. That's just I think that was the record actually at one point, something like that. Like, yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be all buddy. But yes, I have faith in Fred as the leader. Not quite like Kyle Lowry, which I think people try to make him up to be like that.
What's the difference?
It's not just one guy. I don't know. There was just something about you can't really put your finger on it a lot. Some guys are just leaders. Some guys just command respect. And some guys, they don't even like it's the people that don't even try. Like they just command respect. And I think Kyle Lowry had that trait where he was a leader. He led by example, and people just respected him always for what he brought. I don't know if Fred quite has those traits, but I also think it's a bit unfair to try to propel him into that when maybe he just isn't. That's just not who he is. It's unfair to say you have to be that. But to say he's a negative for the locker room, I think is incorrect. If anybody says that.
I've been hard on Fred for the past couple months. I've personally been hard on Fred. I've been thinking that Fred has been playing for his contract, and I think it's been at the detriment of the success of the team. And I keep on saying, if Fred just plays like a point guard and allows the other guys to score, because we have guys who can score, if he just facilitates, I think we'll be all right. And the last game, what did he end up with? Like 15?
15.
And he made he had a part in Jakob scoring 30. Right? So I'm thinking, like, if this is the Fred that we have moving forward, we're beating Boston.
You have to remember, Pirtle helps that a lot, because
Yeah.
Pirtle doesn't space the floor shooting wise, but he spaces the floor in other ways. His screens, his passing out of the high post. And there may not be anybody who's going to profit more from that than Fred VanVleet. So this will be a fun little 23 game to see how that partnership works. People are worried he's going to play too well, though, because his contract is due, of course.
DJ Ron C says, wait, what? Is that wait, what for we're beating Boston? Don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah, I don't know about, I'm not going to go that far, but I'm not going to disagree with you on your own
We
show.
got DJ Ron C as a big Boston fan, and Lux is in here as a big Boston fan as well. And you guys can find a new team.
Jeez. Holy, man. You got to be nicer. You got to be nicer to the people that come to watch the show.
Okay. I apologize. You guys can keep your team, but also let's go Raptors.
Let's go Raptors, indeed. You tell people, there's people here that aren't usually here. Tell them when we're on television.
All right. Well,
do your plugs.
Again, everybody, thank you for joining Pizza in the Break Room, episode 82. Today we have a special guest, Jacob Grramegna, the proprietor of Amateur Hour Sports. And if you follow his YouTube, you will also see that he is the proprietor of a bunch of other YouTube channels. I don't know how he gets all the time, but he seems to fit it in. Time management. Anyways, again, thank y'all for joining us. Hey, if you're on Twitch right now, but you're not actually logged in, log in, join the chat. I'm sure you got something good to say. We want to hear what you got to say. And everybody on YouTube, thank you for joining. And again, we thank everybody here for taking part in the conversation and helping push it forward. We are here every Tuesday, 9:30, T.Hotshot and Couture J. And we are also here on Friday mornings at 7:45 a.m. And Jacob, when do you stream?
So I stream. I don't have a specific schedule, but when I can for Raptors games, I go live 30 minutes before the scheduled start time. So usually like 40 minutes before the game starts, because it always starts late. But the game is 7:30 scheduled. I'm live at 7 o'clock. I try to do a video on most of the off days as well about the Raptors. That's on the main channel. So
That's madness.
A lot of work.
Madness.
And I have a 9 to 5, so sometimes it's very, very hard to get all this.
And you have a 9 to 5.
Yes. Fortunately, I work from home, but yes.
Are you in your office right now?
Yeah. This is where I do all my stuff.
Sick. Okay. So when you're doing your streams, you say you do streams on your off days. So you say right now you've done so many that you just go off the cuff and you're able to wing it, or
yeah, like certain videos, like I'll want to pull like a specific stat for the video, but for the most part, like I go on Twitter a lot. I see stats. Appreciate that. That I forgot a big part of my community, amateur community, by the way. So shout out to him. But most of it, yeah, like I'll just think of a title, so like something relevant. So tomorrow's video, we talked about Siakim a lot today. Tomorrow's video is going to be Siakim specific. I'm going to talk about if he should be the guy that we can build around, or if we shouldn't build around. So essentially what I'm saying is Siakim, I think, can be the first option, but we don't know. I think we had the one 2020 series where he was the first option, where it was a disaster. But we don't want to. I don't want to.
Jacob, no.
That was good stuff he was getting into.
Sorry. I don't know why the connection's going.
There you go.
Okay, I'll start over Siakam. So, Siakam, I think can be a number one option, but I'm not sold on that. And I think that's fair.
Yeah.
So I think if he had a co-star, he could really be like the first option. So like Siakam's not Tatum, but Tatum has Jaylen Brown. Siakam does not have anything close to Jaylen Brown. So what if he did have a co-star? Could he be the first option? But that'd be an investment to get that co-star. So it's like, is Siakam good enough? If we want to find out, that's a big price to pay, and we have to risk finding out. So that's the question that I'm trying to, I guess, find a way to solve tomorrow. So for this, so that's the thought for the video. I'm going to start recording. Maybe along the way, I kind of convince myself one way or the other. Maybe I get to the end of the video and I'm like, okay, I'm still pretty I'm still like a bit ambiguous. Like, I don't know. I would love to see if Siakam could be that guy if he had a co-star, but I'm not sold if he is worth that investment type of
So
thing.
do you sometimes?
Yeah.
Are you saying that sometimes you go into the video with an intention, and then sometimes you, as you go along, you talk yourself out of your
Yeah.
out of your
Because
intention?
it all starts with an idea. I have a big list of video titles. If I think of a video idea, I come up with a title and I write it down in notes in the notes app on my phone. And so for this one, I'm just going to go in with that idea that I just presented to you guys. I'm going to talk for like 10 to 15 minutes. Maybe along the way, I convince myself one way or another. Maybe I don't. Sometimes, yes, sometimes that happens. Most of the time it doesn't. Most of the time I have the finish line. I just need to get there. But there's some like this where, like, you know, I don't know.
Like Dave
everything.
Chappelle.
I don't know. Can he be for that? I genuinely don't know. He had one chance. He's a different player from that point, but was that the revealing of Pascal Siakam as a player? I don't think so, but is it worth risking in him, or is it worth going in a different direction long term? So I'll probably finish the video not knowing the answer. I'll say that. I can't see myself coming to a legitimate conclusion on this one, but
I think Pascal is the co-star. I think that's the key.
Ideally, yes, but how do you get?
How do you get there?
Better player than him?
Okay,
is the thing.
What you're saying right now, Tita, sounds to me crazy. Because if an all NBA player, not all-star player, all NBA player is your co-star, then who are you getting on your team?
I mean, part of it is thinking about this year specifically, but I mean, that's what we're talking about. Like a co-star, like Jaylen Brown, was he an all-star? No, he wasn't an all-star.
Yeah, well, but you just said that.
Yeah.
That ideally Pascal would be the co-star.
Yes.
So you want Michael Jordan on the team then?
Well, I mean, sure.
Well, if I could interject, I think as you for Jaylen Brown, because he's such a good second player, I think if Jaylen Brown was the best player in the Celtics and Tatum wasn't there, I think Jaylen Brown would be good enough to make All NBA. I think it's just he's not the best player on his team. So I think
you have to put the quotes
in an ideal world.
Put the quotes are on that.
Yeah, in an ideal world, Siakam is your second best player, because if Siakam is your second best player, then your first player is so good at basketball.
Win a championship.
But
great.
But also, can you reasonably get a better player than that? Like, who is going to be like Kevin Durant was available, but that's so rare for a player of that caliber to be available, and it didn't really seem like the Nets even wanted to trade him that much in this summer. So, I agree. I'd love to have a better player than Siakam, but feasibility wise, is that something that is possible?
If you want a better player than Pascal Siakam, you have to get a monster.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, let's try this. Pascal Siakam, top 5 in the NBA?
No.
Top 10?
No.
Top 15?
You could make the case. I would comfortably say he's top 20. I don't know if I'm going to go as far as say top 15. I think I'm not going to do it. off the top of my head.
Jacob.
I think I could do 15.
Jacob.
Don't rough up the guests, man.
Jacob.
No, please.
No,
Jacob.
that's a good answer. Top 20 is a good answer.
Last year, the NBA told us. We already knew.
Top 15, yes.
Right. The NBA told the world. Pascal is
but
top 15.
I get what you're saying, but like Kawhi Leonard's better than him. Kawhi Leonard was not all NBA because
Kawhi Leonard's not better than him anymore.
Like Zion Williamson is better than Pascal Siakam.
Okay, fair.
But you know,
so Kawhi,
but also the best availability, the best ability is availability. So would I rather have 30 games of Zion or like 70 games of Siakam? I'd rather have 70 games of Siakam, and the All NBA kind of enlightened to that. But in terms of like pure ability, top 20, I think. I can't give him top 15. I love Siakam. Like I got his jersey right here.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time left. Run down 14 players that you think are better.
Don't make me do a list.
Do it, man. Do it.
Okay,
you can help. Let's help in the chat as well.
Yeah.
We can get
When he says a name in the chat, please type the name so that we can keep a list.
Okay. Yeah. Let's. I'll pull up a pull up word here. I'll start writing some names. So comfortably like Jokic, Giannis.
Right.
We said Tatum already. Doncic. We said Embiid.
Okay, fair.
We didn't say Embiid, but Embiid definitely. KD.
Okay, yeah.
Kyrie.
Kyrie.
Well, no, we're all talking together. It's everybody's helping here, man.
Why? I don't know if I'd put
Paul George.
I don't know if I'd put Paul George.
It's not your
LeBron,
job.
of course. What do I say?
What do you mean?
This is Jacob's job.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Not your job.
I was about to say Paul George, but I'm like, I don't know if I can give him that. I don't know if I'll give. I don't know if I'll give Anthony Edwards that, because as much as Edwards is a better scorer, Siakam is better at everything else. Who else can we put?
Yes, I like. You see how you say kind of start stumbling.
Booker.
I like that.
No,
I'll put Booker.
The outputs.
There's probably like some key players that I'm not thinking of.
What number are you at right now?
We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We're at 10.
All right, and that's the same 10 that probably everybody else would put. But anybody else other than those 10 are probably the outputs. Okay, outputs.
Let's look at MVP.
We'll go. Okay, I'll send out players for you. Miami Heat players. You got any Miami Heat players better than?
No. Butler's a weird one because regular season Siakam's better, but in the playoffs Butler is another level. That's different. Okay, I didn't do Zion yet. Ja Morant's better.
Mm-hmm. Last year I didn't believe Ja Morant was better.
Dame is
this
better.
This year Ja Morant convinced me.
Lillard, there you go.
Right now,
Lillard is not better.
Right now, SGA is better. We said SGA is a superstar, so we'll have to say he's there.
Yeah.
Oof.
What are these Indiana people now? So now we got a bunch of players. Now where we're at here.
Those are all the ones. I'll put Butler there because I'm still convinced from his playoff runs that that
was 2 years ago.
Last year in the playoffs too. That Celtics series was crazy. I'll say like I can comfortably put Jokic, Giannis, Tatum, Doncic, Embiid, Durant, Kyrie, Kawhi, LeBron, Booker, Zion, Morant, Dame, and SGA. That's 1, 2, 3,
Kyrie
4,
for sure.
5,
are you
6,
sure
7,
Kyrie?
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I can say 4.
That was quick. That was what that 4.
I'd say that's 14.
Steph
like
Curry, Stephon Curry.
I forgot about Curry. So
are you sure Kyrie goes in that list?
Who?
I don't think Kyrie goes in that list.
I'm putting Kyrie on that list.
Okay, so now are you saying Kyrie is there offensively and defensively and like all the other intangibles?
Kyrie's a very good player, man.
But I think he's at such a level offensively that just trumps it, and also the playmaking aspect. Like some guys are just different, and Kyrie's one of them. So 15 comfortably better than Siakam, and I love Siakam. Like you're talking one of the biggest Siakam lovers.
No, you weren't comfortable. You were not comfortable.
No,
you got to 10 comfortable.
No, I'm 15 comfortably. Butler, I'm uncomfortable at 16. But like that's where there's debate involved. But the top the top 15. I'm gonna comfortably say he's not better than 15 guys in the NBA.
So then he's
There you
not all NBA this year.
Well,
He was
it's different
he
because
barely an All-Star this year.
availability is different for these players. And you know what? If the Raptors record is what it is, then he will likely struggle to make All NBA. But that somebody says Bam in chat. That's debatable as well.
Mrs. Ron C. Jeez. It's
Um,
funny, isn't it?
the Raptors don't have a good record, then he's not
Bam.
going to All NBA,
Ooh.
which sucks for him.
Bam.
Oh man, that's
This
funny.
year, Bam Adebayo has been crazy, but I would Miami fans
Arguing
would
for
say Bam is
Bam
better.
over Pascal.
I'm gonna say
Close,
Siakam
maybe,
is better.
right? Oh, did we lose you?
Okay, Bam. Okay,
Mr.
okay,
Mike?
okay.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Can I hear you guys?
Yeah, I hear you.
I hear you.
You guys are doing funny.
What happened? You can't hear? You can't hear us?
I don't know.
I can't hear you.
You can't hear? We hear you.
Yes, we hear you.
I can hear you now.
All right, good, good,
Oh,
good.
Anthony Davis as well. That's another one.
No, he's not.
Nah,
He hasn't been good enough for 2 years, 3 years now.
This
long enough.
start of this season, he was otherworldly.
Better than
Okay, but-
Pascal? Yeah, better than Pascal. I agree with that.
AD,
No?
AD.
AD
But
needs to
like,
play.
but again, I can like I said, he's top 20. I can give 15 that are better. And I'm not trying to sound like a
all right,
Siakam
all right,
hater.
okay, fair, okay. I get you.
All right. You
All right,
guys,
all right.
hang on. We're going to talk about this in a minute. Mrs. Ron C, you're making me laugh. So Jacob, at 11:11, we do this thing. It's all about like good juju and stuff like that.
Okay.
Everybody makes wishes. If you have an intention, we throw that shit out there. If you're, appreciating all the people that are here for this moment, so we're gonna take 1 minute, and then we're gonna finish up with you two still arguing about whatever you guys are arguing. But it's 11:11. Big up to everybody for being here. Thank you very much. Thank you to our guest Jacob. This has been. We don't usually do a full show of sports, technically, so we really appreciate you coming and
Yeah, big
chopping
shouts,
it up with
Jacob.
us.
Thank you so much.
Big
No
up
problem.
to you, everybody.
I'm having a lot of fun.
Please follow and get familiar. Pass it along, as they say. That's definitely a good thing. But yeah, man, everybody, all good juju in the chat. Fitz, what you got?
Yes. 11:11 is in the chat. 11:11 is in the chat, and whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that you wish, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, put that energy into the chat. Let's get some 11:11s in there. Breathe it in.
Look at that.
And 11:11 for the Raptors 8-game winning streak. Let's
There
do
you go.
that.
Good juju for the Raptors. Let's
Good
go,
juju.
Raptors. All right, 11-12. Woo. Let's go, Rap. They're gonna win the championship, man. That's there. I had to be, or we have to be responsible for the things that we say online and just shows on stuff. Let's go. They're gonna win it all. They're gonna win every game from here on out. It'll be wild.
Yes. So Jacob, where can people find you? I know you're here right now in the break room. You're here in Pizza in the break room. But if you're not here, where can people find Amateur Hour Sports?
On YouTube, you can find me at Amateur Hour Sports. I see somebody sharing it in chat. Thank you very much. So at Amateur Hour Sports on YouTube, or just search Amateur Hour Sports. You can probably just search Amateur as well. That's just Raptors specific stuff, straight Raptors stuff. I would say high quality sort of production, higher quality production. I have other channels, Amateur TV, which is additional Raptors and NBA stuff, lower quality, more different vibe, just more personal from me rather than professional, which is on the main channel. Amateur Clips, which is stream highlights. Amateur Bets, which is sports betting, educational stuff. And that's all on YouTube. You can find all my stuff there. And if you want social media, at Jacob_Grramegna or at Amateur Hour HQ.
Amateur Hour HQ. Okay, so wait, hold on a second. Amateur Hour Bets. Are you a handicapper?
No, I don't give out bets.
Gator.
It's educational stuff. So I'm trying to I want people to I don't want people to just look at picks online and tail picks. I want them to be able to get to the point where they can make their own bets and do it so in a smart way.
Okay. Okay. Did you bet on the Super Bowl?
I did bet on the Super Bowl.
I'm not going to ask you the result.
It was okay. It was. You can ask because it was a good day.
Okay. So what was the result?
Most of what went well was based on the time of the national anthem. Quite honestly,
for real.
Yes.
What was the over under on that again? What was the over?
I had under 207, under 206, and under 205, and it was a 203 or 204. So
you got all of them.
Yeah, it was the under with this. The anthem was a very, very good day it was a very good moment for me. It was a very intense 2 minutes and 3 seconds with my stopwatch going. But yes, it ended up being a very good day.
Oh shoot!
That's a good start too, right? That's just right off.
Yeah,
the bat.
that set the tone.
This man's like, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. See, I don't like sharing this sort of stuff because like people will perceive it as like very degenerate. Like you bet on the national anthem, all that money in the national anthem, but there's always ways to find. I'll word it like this: there's always ways to find a betting edge on something, and this was one where I had a very, very good edge on, and I'm confident in my ability as a sports bettor.
Okay, so then what you're saying is that you would not advise anybody in this chat to bet on a Raptors 8-game winning streak for the rest of the season.
It's all about price. It's all about the odds on a thing. You shouldn't think of sports betting as a picking winners, picking losers. You should think of sports betting as a market where the odds, sometimes we can quantify that we're in a better position based on the odds that are given. So it's not about me picking who's going to win. It's about what the prices are available at. And if we can quantify if that puts us in a good position against the house edge. So I don't bet on opinion. I'm very mathematical with my betting. And opinion, in fact, makes me worse. When I value my opinion too much, that's when I make mistakes and lose money.
Game theory, optimal view.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, look, there's different ways to do it. That's my approach. And I've had success doing that. But yes, my actually, because we were on betting, my 9 to 5 is in betting media. So,
oh, is it?
Yes. That's just a little side thing, but my main job is in sports betting media.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So I do production work on sports betting content. So some place that give out picks, like there's a YouTube channel called The Board, which Yada referenced in the chat. Which I host there. That is a pick show. I don't give out the picks, but it's called The Board. I work for a company called The Hammer. Our website is thehammer.bet. And I produce content there. So I produce videos. I also host some certain things. And I also create content there. Some education stuff. Sometimes it's pick related. But yeah, that's why I have, I guess, knowledge in the betting space.
Okay. So your ability to produce for those channels, did that come from just you producing for your own channel?
Yeah. So as I was saying earlier, how like the channel was made to be able to put on a resume. Like I didn't even get a resume. They basically, thankfully I had somebody who put in a good word for me. And they saw my channel and saw like, okay, you can clearly edit videos, work a camera, work a microphone. So that's what got me hired. So it was like somebody said, you make it till you make it.
Indeed.
Okay.
Brilliant. That's awesome.
Okay. Let me ask you this. We're going to go soon. I just want to ask a couple questions. Basketball or soccer? Watching.
If it's not Raptors, like I watch every Premier League game, which NBA, I guess because that's the morning. It's still soccer.
Soccer. Okay. So then I was going to say playing basketball or soccer.
Soccer. Sorry. I don't want to. I've played soccer competitively my whole life, so I'm pretty good at soccer. I'm not that good at basketball.
What position did you play?
Well, I played in high school. I played as either a 4 or 5. I'm only 6 feet tall, but I guess
This guy said only.
well, for a center, I guess that's quite small.
Wait,
Right.
he was a 6-foot center.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I played a bit above my size. I'm a bigger guy as well. So I rebounded well. I hustled like crazy, man. I know my deficiencies. I hustle like crazy. So I do the work that other guys don't do. That's how I get playtime. But I also didn't really understand basketball that well. This is like 2015, 2016 when I'm playing. I understand the game a lot more. So I think I was actually better than I thought I was. I just didn't know the difference between a good and a bad shot. And so I always played nervous of shooting when I wasn't supposed to. And I tried to get other guys' shots more so than myself. Whereas if I had known how to play and my ability, I would have been better. But yes, very much prefer playing soccer. I'm a Manchester United fan. I actually, a bunch of my tattoos are Manchester United related.
Okay.
So none of those teams.
0 of them. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
if somebody said if I found about Daryl Morey ball, I'd be good in high school. But yes, well, not even that, because I don't shoot threes very well. But just understanding the game would have made me better, because I know my role essentially. I know what I'm there for. I was there to hustle, get rebounds, and facilitate for other guys.
What position you play in soccer?
Midfield, but I'm like pretty Swiss Army knife. I played center back. I played my summer league. I played as a striker, but predominantly midfield, central mid.
Sick. So you're the brains behind the operation everywhere.
I guess
On and off the field.
I guess a little bit.
Okay. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Always Messi?
Always has been, and he didn't need the World Cup to solidify it, but then that should put it over the top for anybody else.
What is it about Messi that makes you say Messi over Ronaldo?
It's always the nuances that separate the best players, and it's not like it's not close. It's not like we're talking about a massive gap here, but the decision making that he has, the quickness of his decision making, is just untouchable compared to other players. The way he impacts the game from a decision-making standpoint, which brings his other teammates into the game, is incredible. He scored at similar rates to Ronaldo, but also provided the most assists in the league at the same time. He should just control everything for your team going forward. And I'm not saying Ronaldo's not close. Like I said, it's very close, but I give Messi that edge in those games.
Yeah, you measure greatness in decimal points. That's what I always say. Somebody's a 9.95, somebody's a 9.91. It's close, but there's just those little things.
Pele over. I would say that modern data would suggest that maybe, but I wouldn't
Spicy question.
How would I know? Because I never saw him play.
Eyeball test.
I don't want to set off of. I don't even want to say this, but there's the LeBron Jordan debate, and people act like it's such a difference, but they're right there with each other, and your preference comes down to your personal opinion. And I never watched Jordan play, so it's difficult for me to comment. But I've watched LeBron play, and I'm like, man, I watched LeBron in the 2018 playoffs take a team that had no business going to the finals. Like how has anybody been better than this? But I never watched Jordan play, so I don't know. Maybe if I did, I'd be like, Jordan was the better player.
Okay,
but it's like 1A, 1B for those guys. How can you say Jordan is way better than LeBron? It's just no way. There's just no way. And cross comparing eras in a sport, it's crazy.
It's tough.
How I feel about Bayern going to the Champions League? This is a weird year for Bayern. I don't I'm not fully convinced on their pedigree. I think they're good enough to win the Champions League, but I'm not fully convinced on their pedigree this season.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, with soccer, I know the ins and out, every player,
Oh, yeah?
every team. I am a sicko with soccer knowledge. Yes.
What? Where do
Yeah.
you get the brain space? Where do you get the capacity?
I don't know. People ask. I just
'Cause
have no
you got
idea.
you got all this basketball knowledge, and then you say you're even worse with soccer.
It's just passion. Yeah,
Hmm.
like soccer. Like I'm very good with like soccer trivia games. Like he'll say like what happened in this game from 2010. And I'll remember watching it. I'll remember vividly. I'm absolute sicko with soccer. Yeah.
What club did you play for?
Oh, growing up, I played for a team called the Toronto Lynx. I
Lynx,
played for a
okay.
team called Oakville Blue Devils, and I played university. I went to Laurentian University, which is in Sudbury, 4
I've heard it.
hours due north of Toronto, pretty much, or 3.5 hours. Yeah, that's where I played.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, if you when you Googled me, you saw the article. That's from my school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good read.
Yeah, appreciate that.
That was a good read. Yeah. All right. So everybody, thank you for joining Pizza in the Break Room, episode 82. Jacob, we thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much graciously for offering us your time. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me, man. This was a lot of fun.
Cool. We're gonna raid out to DJ Star Q. So everybody, hang tight. We'll go listen to some music right after this. But yes, Jacob, much appreciated. Like I said, we don't usually do like an all-out sports thing, and it was a little bit fun because it's also good to hear some other perspectives on some of these players too. So I got to listen to this guy all the time talk about Spicy P.
Tomorrow, Spicy P, 2:30 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow.
I'm there for it, bro. I'm there for it. Yes. And follow Amateur Hour Sports on YouTube. Like, sub, comment for the algorithm.
Yeah, thank you.
Do it the way you do it, Jacob. I like the way you do it.
But how I sign off?
Yeah, man, do it.
Okay. Drop a like if you enjoyed along the way. Really helps the YouTube algorithm, helps get this on some more recommended pages. And if you did enjoy, make sure you subscribe to see more great content just like this. You can even get notified when new content is out, so you never miss out on any of the fun.
Wait.
Bang. Sounds professional, man. That's good stuff right there. Appreciate you.
Appreciate
y'all for stopping by. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in.
All right. We're rated out. That was awesome.
All good. We're all done?
Yeah, we're out.
All right.